Well, I, of all people, know exactly what it's like to be completely overwhelmed by a space. And today I'm gonna teach you how to kind of bust through that paralysis and start to make momentum in these overwhelming spaces. The very first thing I recommend that you do is clear off a surface area. If you're going to be decluttering in the kitchen, I recommend this is the kitchen table. You need a clear surface. This is gonna be your clutter-free zone. This is where you're going to be working. There is nothing more overwhelming than not having a space to work and a space to declutter that is already clutter-free. So when you're clearing off your, let's say, kitchen table, you're not going to declutter these items. You are literally going to pile them into a box, pile them into a bin. You're going to get to these items later. The goal is to get this surface area cleared off as quickly as possible so that you have space to work. Another place that I highly recommend clearing off is your bed. If you're going to be working, let's say, upstairs or in the bedrooms, clear off one bed. Master bedroom is the best place because the bed's usually the biggest. You're going to do the same thing. Pile the things onto the floor. I know that seems kind of counterintuitive, but we're going to go through a process. Do not make this hard. Pile everything onto the floor, pile it into a bin, and you have your clear surface. Ultimately, every single day, you are going to come back to these new clutter-free zones and make sure they are clutter-free. You want to have a clutter-free zone where you know you can work efficiently. Let's say it's the office, you're actually going to use the floor as your clutter-free zone. You're gonna push everything to the side. Same concept, push everything to the side.
I've been mentioning bagging up or putting in a box the items that come off your new clutter-free zones like your bed and the kitchen table. I cannot stress this enough. Once you contain items, they suddenly seem less overwhelming, and now this is a lot easier to deal with. It's its own separate project, which you're actually going to deal with at the very end, and I'll give you a little bit more specifics on that later in this video.
Now, when I first started decluttering, the only person I'd ever heard of that had done any kind of decluttering program was Marie Kondo. Her method is to pull everything out and make a huge, enormous heap. I kind of understand the psychology behind this. You want to see how much you have, realize, wow, I've got way too much, thus motivating you to declutter items. This does not work well for me. I know this because this is what I did, and it was extremely overwhelming and conducive to major burnout. So instead of making these large, enormous heaps on the bed, on the floor, scattered throughout your house, what I recommend doing, let's say you're in the bedroom and you're like, I'm gonna declutter my closet. You're going to have your clutter-free bed. You're gonna walk into your closet and pick a category. In my case, I actually keep my books in my closet. So I'm gonna walk into my closet. I'm gonna say, all right, I see some books. This is the category we're working on. I'm gonna pile these books up on my bed. This is the only category I'm going to be working on. I'm going to sort the books into keep, donate, and maybe trash if some of them aren't salvageable. The goal is to only pull categories out of an area that ideally stay in that area. So what I mean is, if the books are gonna live permanently in my closet, if the purses, if the short sleeve shirts, let's say, are permanently a part of my closet, this would be a good category to choose. And I do recommend breaking this down. Everything's gonna be very specific. The goal is for it to be very manageable. So we're trying to declutter with the least amount of overwhelm as possible.
Let's take a short sleeve tops, for example. So you have a bed completely cleared off. You are just going to focus on short sleeves. You're not going to worry about tank tops, sweaters, anything like that, and just create two easy piles. If anything has stains or holes, you might want to consider just recycling these.
Ideally, you work through every single category that has a permanent home in your closet, and everything left is either trash, donate, or relocate. That's all you're gonna be left with at the end. So it makes it very, very clear. Instead of seeing all the garbage and all the relocate and all the donate and keep all in one big visual overwhelming heap in your mind, you're actually going to be seeing these things separate. And then at the very, very end, once every category is decluttered, let's say from your closet, now you're gonna address the relocate and any miscellaneous items that you can just get rid of. Let's say an area that you wanna work in is your kitchen, which is actually a really good place to start. Not a lot of sentimental choices in the kitchen, and you use your kitchen a lot. You're going to have your clutter-free zone, which is either a countertop or your kitchen table, and choose a category. In this case, let's use pots and pans as an example. I am going to ignore every appliance, every gadget in the kitchen, and I am just looking for pots and pans. See if there's anything rusted. And then just like before, you're going to recycle what is not salvageable, have a donate pile that you are immediately going to get out of your space, and then you're going to put everything else back. For your next category, maybe you're going to choose anything that plugs in. This could be toaster, waffle iron, anything with a plug. That's another category. You can get creative with this. And then see what isn't matching. I had one kid lick the batter one time and then throw away the mixing spoon, so I had to get another set. You might have one laying around or things that don't match. Having a mix and match party, seeing what Tupperware doesn't have lids that match. I promise it is okay to get rid of one spatula. One lid. It can be so hard. It can feel really, really wasteful to get rid of something and you think, oh, what if the other one turns up? Okay, well, maybe if you're at the very, very beginning of this process, then go ahead and set this aside and say, you know what? I think I actually do have the other beater. It's just buried in my kitchen somewhere. Then have a little holding zone for things that you think you will find the match for. If your entire kitchen gets done and there's this box left at the end of miscellaneous mismatched items, this is also a declutter or a recycle box. So if you've got things that have different parts and different pieces, set up a little box, a bag, keep it simple. Any kind of little station where you can hold these for just a little while and see if the match eventually turns up. You might be wondering, well, what if I'm actually working on my closet and my clutter-free zone is the dining room table and we've got two different floors we're working on? My suggestion is to finish the kitchen and have that completely decluttered before you move on. So decide what area first of the home you're actually going to be working on and finishing before you move on to your next clutter-free zone. You're going to keep going back to that zone, that area of your home, the closet, the bedroom, the kitchen, the dining room, and you're going to complete it. No matter how long this takes, this could take you a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It is absolutely fine. Have faith in the process, and whatever timing you can get this done, awesome. If you're tired a lot and you just do this in 10-minute chunks, if you can hit this for an hour every day or every weekend, amazing. Don't discourage yourself with the timing of these projects. The goal is to get things out of that space, to make real visible progress, whether again you've worked for 10 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour. You can make actual, visible, measurable progress to help you kind of keep track of everything. I really like the idea of every single time you finish decluttering a category, not an area, you're going to write it down somewhere and check it off. This could be on your phone, in your planner, wherever. I love sticky notes. This one is short sleeve shirts. Check. Done. It is so satisfying to keep track of your progress, and it also really helps you kind of visualize and again organize exactly what your process is. Whether your house is organized or not, your approach is very organized, and that can really help with overwhelm.
I really want to address the stuff that you actually put either in baskets or bags that was on your flat surface that you cleared off. Now, this is another decluttering project, especially if you've bagged it up. This is its own separate declutter. You can put this all back onto that flat surface, and now you've built up these muscles a little bit. You've had some practice with a slower decluttering approach. And at this point, you're just doing trash, donate, relocate. If you're thinking, Candace, this all sounds great, but you don't understand. My space is completely covered in clutter. Like, I don't really even know where to start. This system, I don't think is going to work for me. This doesn't work for the amount of clutter that I have in my space. Well, hang on. Wait for video part 2 of this. This is a 2-part series. I'm going to actually take you through extremely overwhelming spaces. So this is going to work for a medium declutter, a place that looks kind of like this. My pantry is a good example. If you're kind of at this level, then then this is a good place to start. If you're in a place like the pantry, you can go shelf by shelf too if you don't want to do categories. But the main thing is wait for part 2. In part 2, I will also take you through item by item and show you how to make tough decisions.
I have more tips on decluttering. If you want to click the screen right here, it'll take you to another video. I'll catch you over there. Bye.